pleading frankly and voluntarily?
Yes.
Has anyone made any threats or promises to you or anyone close to you in order to get you to plead guilty?
No, ma'am.
Does the court wish to inquire further?
It does not.
Louie Sanchez, to the charge in count 1 of the information that on or about March 31st, 2011, in the county of Los Angeles, that you committed the crime of mayhem in violation of Penal Code Section 203, a felony, against Bryan Stow. How do you now plead?
Yes.
Does counsel join in the plea, concur in the waiver, and stipulate to the factual basis as given? You will join.
All right, thank you. This court will make a finding that the defendant knowingly, intelligently, and understandingly waived his constitutional and statutory rights, and that his plea was freely and voluntarily made with an understanding of the nature and the consequences thereof. There is a factual basis for the plea, and the court will therefore accept the defendant's plea. Let's now bring out Mr. Norwood for purposes of sentencing, if you would, please. I'll show you. Very good. All right, we have both defendants, Louie Sanchez and Marvin Norwood. Counsel having previously made their appearances. This is here for purposes of sentencing. Before we hear from the victim impact statements, let me ask: is there any legal cause why sentence should not be pronounced?
No, Mr. Sanchez.
All right. Do you waive time for sentencing?
Yes. Yes.
I understand there are victim impact statements to be heard.
Yes, there are.
You may proceed.
I'm going to set this hat right here so they can see it.
Okay, go ahead and speak. Please tell the court reporter your name.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak in the court.
And you are who, sir?
Your name?
David Stow.
Okay.
The significance now is not that whether you were Dodger fans and Bryan was a Giant fan. The sport of baseball pales to this action. The attack that you inflicted on my son on March 31st, 2011 at Dodger Stadium was so mean and vicious that it has left Bryan unable to care for himself. Bryan has a lifetime of pain, therapy, hard work daily that he must endure. He will strive to persevere. The many hours of hard work by the LAPD gathering evidence against you both has paid off, and the DA's office will lock you misfits up. What you both did late in the evening in the dark at Dodger Stadium was cowardly. We hold no hate against you, we despise you though. The time you serve is insignificant compared to what Bryan must endure. However, the years that you spend in prison is what you cretins deserve. This, keep in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm Bonnie Stow. I'm Bryan's youngest sister.
Good morning.
Morning. Bryan is my older brother. I never imagined having to care for him the way I do. With my family, my sister, and my parents, we shower him, we dress him, we fix his meals, and we make sure he gets his 13 medications throughout the day. He takes 2 different anti-seizure medications to prevent the seizures he endured for months after you brutally and cowardly attacked him. You get to live your life as you choose. Bryan did not choose this. No sentencing you receive will ever be long enough. Eventually, you will be released. Bryan's sentence is a lifetime. You showed no conscience when you didn't come forward. You showed no remorse by dragging this out. Your lack of regret makes me despise you even more. I envy those people who can forgive others who commit crimes against their loved ones. I'm here to say I am not one of those people.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm Erin Collins. I'm Bryan's other sister.
Good morning.
Good morning. Before I read what I wrote, I have something the mother of his children wrote. Our son Tyler's first word was ball. His next word was daddy. And when they started playing catch, Bryan promised to play catch with him every day. And he did, until both of you took that away from him. Our daughter Tabitha loved to ride bikes with her daddy, and he did that every day. Again, until both of you took that away from him. Based on your actions, it is completely obvious that you have no respect for human life. I'm sure it never occurred to you that this person you felt the need to damn near kill may be a father to 2 beautiful, loving children. It's been extremely hard for me to try to explain to my children why this happened to their dad. What would you say to a child who doesn't understand the hatred you portrayed? We live in a completely different world than you, but my children had to learn early on that there are horrible, mean people that exist. Bryan was a paramedic and a damn good one. He worked very hard to get where he was, and had you been the one attacked and bleeding out, he was the type that would stop and try his best to save you. You took my kid's daddy away from him. Do you have any remorse? What if Tyler and Tabitha were here? What would you say to them? His parents and sisters are having to care for him in every way you can think. And every morning you get to wake up and get out of bed and live, even if it is behind bars. You are able to live, and Bryan can't even get up out of bed. He can't do anything without assistance because of you. I asked my children if they wanted to say or write anything to either of you, and they simply put their heads down and said no. They still cry about how their dad is now, as do I. We will all miss the Bryan that you both took from us, again for no reason whatsoever. I teach my children that life is all about choices. Whatever choices you make, you need to be able to live with the consequences that follow. You made a choice to purposely and permanently disable a man, and in my mind with the intent to kill. Now you must live with that on your minds behind bars. And once again, that was from Bryan's children's mother. Hopefully this is the first and last time we ever have to see you again. To say you got off easy is an understatement. Because of you both, Bryan's life nearly taken from him and will never be the same. That also goes for his children, our parents, my sister and I, all of our family and Bryan's friends. Because of your actions, Bryan can't go to the bathroom by himself. He can't shower by himself. He has to wear adult diapers. And I hate having to even say that out loud, but it shows the severity of what you did. As men, are you proud of yourselves? And as fathers, are you proud of yourselves? Being here, I'd hoped to see one tiny bit of remorse in order to not think you both are that despicable. But I don't. How can we even begin to consider forgiveness when you aren't even asking for it? I'm still not sure I believe in karma, but if there is such a thing, then I imagine prison life won't be pleasant. I included on here that gives us some relief, but for me it doesn't. Because I feel sad. I feel sad for us, and I feel sad for your families. And I hope you understand what you did.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other victim impact statements? All right, before I impose sentence, let me just state the following. Mr. Norwood, Mr. Sanchez, I've been doing this for 15 and a half years, and I've heard so many trials and have presided over a number of case proceedings, and rarely do I comment. But this is the kind of case that demands it, that screams out that comment be made on this. You know, as has been stated by some of the individuals that addressed the court this morning, you not only ruined the life of Mr. Stow, the obvious victim in this matter, but of his children, his spouse, his family, his friends. You know, this, from what I know of Mr. Stow, he's an individual who was very decent. I mean, that is shown by the line of work he did, and that was a paramedic. He was only trying to help people. One day, you're going to be released, and that's probably first and foremost on your mind. When am I getting out? And Mr. Stow will forever be trapped in the medical condition that you caused him. And only because of the love of his family, he may be able to manage this. And I'm hopeful that will occur. You know, you are the biggest nightmare for individuals that attend public events, such as sporting events or concerts. My son and I have season tickets to football, college football. And my biggest fear, which is probably true for most of the people that appear there, and you don't have to stare at me, Mr. Sanchez, but I know you're paying attention to me, is that we run into people like you that have no civility. Oh, you're smiling. You think it's funny. No civility, no respect for individuals. You don't respect the rights of individuals. And that is unfortunately, because I think that 99% of the people that attend these events are decent people. You know, and I have to comment because I've been on this case from the very beginning. I presided over the preliminary hearing, and I have to comment on the manner of attack, which was absolutely brutal, absolutely vicious, and absolutely, in my opinion, cowardice. Not only did you blindside Mr. Stow, and once he was on the ground, and from what I know of the facts and the evidence presented at the preliminary hearing, it was obvious that he was incapacitated, but yet you continue to hit him on the head and kick him in the head, which tells me, and I can only reach one conclusion from that you're complete cowards when it comes to that. You didn't even engage in a fair fight. You have to overtake him in that way, and that is unfortunate. I have never seen, in all the months that I've had it, it's been over a year, even now, with your smirks, I'm talking about Mr. Sanchez, not so much about Mr. Norwood. You show no remorse whatsoever. No remorse to the family here. And that is something that is also unfortunate. You know, at the end of the day, it was only a game. Rivalry occurs all over this country. Giants, Dodgers, USC, UCLA. But it's a game at the end of the day, and you lost perspective. And that's unfortunate. Any event, with respect to Mr. Norwood, the sentence will be imposed as follows. Mr. Norwood, having pled to count 2, 245A3, he shall receive a higher term of 4 years. The credit on that is 945 days actual, which is doubled for a total of 1,890 days. He's to obey all laws, rules, and regulations of this court and the probation department. I have set actual restitution to the extent that it exists for the victim in this matter to August 20th, 2014. You are to report within 48 hours after your release from custody to the probation department. You are to submit your person and property search and seizure conditions at any time of the day or night by any peace officer or probation officer with or without a warrant, probable cause, or reasonable suspicion. You're also not to own, use, possess any firearm or weapon. You're to provide all appropriate DNA samples as dictated under Penal Code Section 296. Pay a restitution fine of $200. The court will stay the probation revocation fine. You're to pay a court security fine or fee of $40 and a criminal convictions facility assessment fee of $30. People's motion with respect to the main counts.
Your Honor, before you complete that.
Yes.
May I refer?
Yes. Yes. Go right there. Okay. Restitution fine is $300. Yes. Yes, because this is going to be the high term of 4 years, the requirement that he report to probation is stricken. All right. With respect to Mr. Sanchez, this will be a state prison term. He is split to count 1, a violation of Penal Code Section 203, mayhem. He is to receive a high term of 8 years. The credit the court shows is 945 days actual, plus 141 days good time, work time, for a total of 1,086 days. Again, restitution, actual restitution to the extent that it exists, is August 20th, 2014. He's not to own, use, or possess any dangerous or deadly weapons, including firearms. He's to provide all appropriate DNA samples as dictated under Penal Code Section 296. Pay a restitution fine of $300. Court will stay the parole revocation fine of $300. He's to pay a court security fee of $40, a criminal conviction facilities assessment fee of $30. Is there a people's motion with respect to the remaining counts? Anything further from either side? Wish to be heard on anything? All right, hearing no response, yes?
Are the defendants ordered back for the...
They are. Defendants, or you, all right. All right. Let's let Mr. Sanchez do it. Yes. Okay. It's his right. Okay. I will do it. I'll ask him. Let me know. All right, Mr. Sanchez and Mr. Norwood, you have a right to be present for the restitution hearing, actual restitution that I have set for August 20th, 2014. Is it correct that you wish to waive your presence, Mr. Sanchez? Yes, sir. Counsel join? Mr. Norwood? Yes, counsel join? All right, we're in recess. Thank you. David?
Thank you. That's terrific.
All right.
never ordered for you guys, but this is, you can focus on Brian.
Thank you. Thank you. And all your people, you got more than you two. What you work to do, it's fantastic. Like Mary.
Was that clear? My pleasure.
I would like to warn my dad, but
Oh,
I forgot.
I forgot to give it to you.
But the little son of a bitch keeps working.
Oh, I know. Well, the judge hammered us.
He did. Can I go out there and talk to him now?
Yeah, some.
Talk to the judge.
The judge?
We can't talk to him without, we always have to be on the record.
The other attorneys have to be present.
We actually on the record.
I was just gonna borrow some money for lunch.
Well, in that case.
Yep, go ahead. Get enough for all of us, huh? Thank you. That went well.
Yeah, it did, and I thought the impact statements were really meaningful.
It's just that one asshole is so smug. He lays back and he smirks and he grins.
He's a jerk.
It's his lifestyle. It's his life to live in jail and out of jail and back into jail. He probably cares less, but
He's got the federal charges against him.
they got what they deserved, and I appreciate it.
The only, I didn't have, because I know he was drinking. Okay, well, he's lived through this, he went through the preliminary hearing, all the evidence against him, finds out how bad your son was injured. And now that he's sober, does he recognize what he did and has some remorse? It doesn't look like it. He was an asshole, whether he was drinking or not.
Or not. He is a big asshole, and we could care less. We could care less anything about him. He's going to prison. He's out of jail, which is a kickback time for him, I think. You know, but he's eating up hours, years off his sentence there, easy time. Now he's going to prison. We can't ask for any more than that. We would like to have got more time.
Look at you, Joe, the only radio up there.